Introducing ISO Color Edge. Precision is essential for any professional working with images. Whether you're an artist, a retoucher, or a visual effects specialist, you need to know that what you see at the start of a project is precisely what you'll get at the end. Color Edge monitors give consistent, reliable accuracy that guarantee no surprises within your color workflow. So what you see in real life is what you see on screen, and what you see on screen is what you see in real life. That's precisely why professionals all over the world trust ISO Color Edge for their image creation. ISO Color Edge. Discover living, breathing color.
Photosatin Premium RC is a resin-coated paper with an alpha cellulose backing, and it's got a really soft, smooth surface that almost looks like a matte paper, except it's got that extra bit of black density and contrast and image sharpness that give it its satin-like quality. It's reminiscent of traditional darkroom RC papers, and honestly, I was really surprised when I tried this paper for the first time. It's got great black density, great contrast, great image sharpness. The colors are really vibrant, but it also has adds a nice softness to the highlights that give it its satin look and feel. And because of that, it's a paper that works with a whole variety of images when you want the look of a photographic type paper, especially if you're matting and framing your images. Photosatin Premium RC is one of my favorites.
We only get one shot at this life thing. Might as well make an extraordinary one. Like maybe there was always a little seed in us that demanded more of life, or like to go out there and get some.
I want to empower women with the skills and confidence to explore the backcountry and to pursue anything they dare to dream.
We're in a pretty hectic zone.
No one will ever understand how hard it is.
Oh my God, we've lost our minds. We'll all be talking about that trip for the rest of our lives.
As image makers, we need to look around. We need to see the world. We need to go to museums. We need to go to galleries so we can understand the use of color and light and shadow. In that respect, everything needs to be considered. If there's a rule for the images that we're trying to make, they shouldn't just appeal to architects. They should be images that when framed, your grandmother falls in love with it and wants to hang it on her wall. So the purpose of our image making is not to recreate a photograph. We have the ability to play with light, to play with atmosphere that potentially makes that image more visually engaging. This is our perception of reality. There's an understanding of the color within a composition. So that color palette is often driven by the color in a brick, or the timber, or the floor. The image in its entirety needs to harmonize. As well as photography, there are painters that we look at. The way that they have painted with color and tone and light, they're in museums. And it kind of occurred to me that we are recording the architecture of our time. We want to celebrate those images by framing them and put them on a wall. So in years to come, could you have a museum where there are digital paintings that people want to come and visit? A song can be broken down into different elements. They all play a part in the composition of that soundtrack. There'll be something about that song that makes you want to play that song over and over again. And maybe each time you'll pick up on different elements. If we make a successful image, you'll want to look at it over and over again. Maybe the more that you look at it, you will then pick up the fact that there's leaves on the ground, or there's dapple shadow in the corner, or there's a figure in the window. So there's thought into every aspect.
Canson Baryta Photographic is a silky smooth satin paper reminiscent of traditional darkroom Baryta prints. It offers excellent black density, probably the highest on the market, together with great image contrast and detail. One of the things I'm often asked is how Baryta differs from Platine fiber rag, a similar paper. And it differs in two distinct ways. Number one, it's definitely a smoother paper, and also it's an alpha cellulose paper, whereas Platine fiber rag is a cotton-backed paper. Now, Baryta does contain some natural brightening agents, and I say natural because it's inherent in the barium sulfate coating that gives Baryta its beautiful finish. But it's still considered a museum-grade paper and meets all industry standards for longevity. And really, it's a paper that works well with a whole variety of images, color of course, but it especially shines with black and white, where rich blacks and deep contrast is important. So if you're fond of darkroom prints and you want a paper that has a rich satin finish, then Baryta Photographic is definitely one to consider.
Welcome back to the Australian Photographic Prize. You've probably been watching some great ads from our sponsors, and I do encourage you to take the time to pop in and see what products they do have to offer, whether it's the Nikons and people like that at the top, or whether it's sponsors like Godox, who are sponsoring our next category, the commercial professional digital category. In this category, commercial entries are images created for commercial clients to promote a product or company, including advertising, fashion, still life, food, architecture and corporate photography. Text graphics are not allowed, but a 25-word description of the commercial use of the image is allowed. Composite images are allowed as long as the digital post-production is not a significant part of conveying the visual message. However, all components must have been created by the photographer. This category is open to student, amateur and professional photographers. Commercial use description of up to 25 words is optional, which is a description of the commercial use of the image perhaps. Again, thanks to Godox, our category sponsor, a company whose lighting equipment is an expert in the area of lighting equipment and an innovator of gear for photographers, videographers, filmmakers and others. The Australian winner of the commercial category wins a trophy and the title of 2024 Australian Commercial Photographer of the Year. They also go into the running to win the professional division and a Godox lighting prize worth $1,000. The international winner of the commercial category wins a trophy and a title of 2024 International Commercial Photographer of the Year. And the Australian winner will go in the running to win the overall Australian Digital Photographer of the Year, winning a Nikon Australian voucher valued at $5,000. The judges we have with us today, another fantastic panel of judges. I'll just run through quickly, give you a bit of background. Bruce Moyle, Weird Art, Abstracts and Portraits, speaks for itself. Won the Portrait Conference Digital category in 2018, high scoring portrait at APA in a previous year and a portrait finalist at APA several years. Director of Photography for Heart and Country Planetarium Show, visuals for We Are Made of Stardust show in 2023, and created a new type of production for medical teaching that has been presented around the world and part of academic papers. That's interesting, Bruce. Must know more about that. David Simmons, a stalwart of the industry and been judging in these sort of competitions for many years, even longer than me, I think, David. Makes me feel good. Architecture, Abstract, Art, Industrial, Corporate. Gold at the National Printing Awards, gold in commercial, gold in architecture. Melbourne Inspires calendars over 5 years and including some exhibitions. Faru Yavari, Portrait Illustrative and Fashion, 2 times International Portrait Photographer of the Year, 2 times Portrait Masters Grand Award winner, WPPI Creative Division Award winner, 3 times RPP Queensland Portrait Photographer of the Year, and a list goes on. NZIPP Master with Distinction, 1 Gold Bar, Icon Awards Triple Master, and has participated in several national and international art fairs and exhibitions. Harriet Tarbuck, Portraiture and Documentary. Harriet's from the Photo Collective. Is that you run that basically, don't you?
Yeah,
that is you.
there's 3 of us that run that.
Yeah, so on that. Is a Walkley Foundation judge in the past and a very well sought after and talented mentor to photographers. Johan van Karen, all the way from Christchurch, New Zealand. I'm trying to remember the little town, Littleton. Am I right?
Close.
What is it?
Mount
You don't want people to know. Wedding Construction Portrait, NZIPP Wedding Photographer of the Year Award 3 times, WPPI Album Award, and the Ian Poole Judges Award twice, which is a very sought after award over there for judging. And again, Johan has blown me a couple of kisses in the projects column. Let's get it over and done with. Jonathan Armstrong is not here. Oh, he is here. Travel Landscape, Street Rock Concerts, High Scoring Print, New South Wales. Epson Signature Award, New South Wales in past years. Finalist in the Moran Contemporary Photographic Prize and a finalist in the Bowness Photography Prize in recent years. Involved in some projects around Bondi, What is the Real Bondi, which was a one-man exhibition at the Bondi Pavilion. Viva Bondi documentary project, shot as part of Magnum, and proud of the work he's done with Heartfelt Photography, which is a fantastic initiative. And I did a little bit of work with Heartfelt a few years back. Katrina Ferguson, Lifestyle, Home, Newborn and Family Documentary Commercial Editorial, recipient of the Claude McCarthy Award and associate with the ARPP. Mother of 3, probably your highest accolade, I think we can say most mums would agree with. Qualified journalist and a Peak Time ambassador. And Katrina's been involved in the competition space for many, many years and is a linchpin behind the running of these events as well. Mark Zed from South Australia. I believe you're still from South Australia. Yeah. Commercial Landscape Creative. A list of awards includes South Australian Professional Photographer of the Year in 2019, finalist in the Documentary Photographer of the Year, South Australian Commercial Photographer of the Year, awarded title of Master of ARPP, and the Claude McCarthy Award for Outstanding Service to the photography industry. Several projects including Precious Finds, which involves cyanotypes by students under 5, that's pretty cool. Abstraction of the Southern Flinders Range, which is a solo show, and a permanent exhibition in the Tropen Museum, Amsterdam Pilgrimage. That's interesting. Nice stuff, see? So in other words, we have a pretty talented crew of judges here. We also have a talented panel who's helping me in Laurent, who's doing all our AV work and our audio, and Alicia, who's going to be making sure I keep honest and don't forget things which can happen. And for those who don't know, I'm Tony Hewitt, and I've been doing this for a little while. Okay. Let's move on. We're going to do a run through so that those at home and our judges get a chance to see what images we're going to be dealing with. These are the top 35 from the commercial category. Who's 35? Yep. So what we're looking at is there may have been a lot more entries. So if you're at home and your image comes up in this, congratulations, you've made the finals, the top 35. And our judges will go through here to score them. And from there we'll get up to our top 5, and from there we'll have a winner. But let's have a look at what we're dealing with in the commercial category. Over to you, Lauren. Oh, Alicia, thank you. Yours. Sure. Again. Awesome. Great collection of images. Congratulations again to all the people who made that top list of images. And if you judges are all ready to go, I get a thumbs up from all of you. That's good. Johan did it for everybody. We will move into our first image. Thanks, Alicia.
Are you ready for any captions?
I will. So just bear with me because I've just got to get myself back in here. Here we go. Oops. So is there a... Right, there's none on this one, so that's good. Yeah, sorry guys, can we come back to a black screen? And we might have to get Chris. They've sabotaged us. We've got a limit of 3 judges instead of 5. And I think I know, but I'm not going in there. So while we're just waiting for that, sorry for you at home, we've just got a little hiccup with the tech side. We're only allowing 3 judges to judge, which probably means we only end up with scores around 40 or something, or 50. But I'm just going to explore something here. Let me go back to something that caught my eye. Bruce, tell me a bit more about this. Created for a new type of production that's ended up in academic papers. Just briefly, what's that about?
So I've been working a lot with medical, allied health academics, and usually in a university setting it's kind of right by numbers, demonstration stuff and things like that. But because I'm sort of coming from an outside perspective, I've started proposing different ways of bringing information across for students and other professionals, and they've just gone, wow, like this is completely different. And it was nothing tricky or hard, it was just a completely different perspective that gave them a different way to see their work, and they went and wrote papers about it and started presenting in Brussels and stuff like that. So yeah, and I got my name on one of the papers, even though I kind of don't do academics.
That's cool. Mark, what's this Precious Finds, creation and curation of cyanotypes by students under 5?
Yeah, so I ran a project. So when my daughter hit preschool, and the preschool's really progressive, and they do something called bush kindy, and they take the kids once a week out and explore the bush, and she come back with pockets full of bits and pieces and all of these things that she's absolutely precious, those stones and broken leaves and bits and pieces. And at the time I was exploring the cyanotype process and went, this is fantastic. It's a good way of really kind of getting in early with a group of students. So I got in total 22 youngsters under 5, and over the course of about 4 days we went out, we collected bits and pieces, we explored how the process works so they understood what the outcomes would be, and then I got to have a lot of fun producing cyanotypes with the children, and we ended up with around 100 pieces that I curated down, making sure that there was one from every child, and we got a bit of funding through Country Arts SA to frame them up and put them on display in the local town hall and ran it as part of the South Australian Living Arts Festival. So it was a really fun project, yeah.
It's awesome. When years ago, I'm part of a group, ND5, which some of you have heard of, and one of our early projects was the Pilbara project, and when we were up in the Pilbara, we were out in the middle of the desert, working with a group in one of the mobs out in the little sandy desert, and we took a whole bunch of small cameras from a company that's not one of our sponsors here, and we got allocated different groups of kids at different age groups, and I think Dr. Les Walking got the older kids, and Peter and Christian got a sort of mid-range, and I got the littlest kids. Not sure why, but I was happy with that. And one of the kids, I remember, he took the camera and they figured out what that did. It was just point and shoot. And he went into a dead tree trunk that had been burnt out by lightning and disappeared up this tree. All you could see was his feet. Then he came back out and he had a picture of a witchetty he grabbed. And I just remember the way he knew where to go find it. And he got this picture that I would never have found. So yeah, fascinating to see what they do.
Did you get to eat the witchetty?
We're good to go. Sorry?
Did you get to eat the witchetty?
Yeah, I don't really take it.
The order has changed though. So the order that you saw the images in, they've changed to the first one, it won't be the one you just saw.
Okay, so we're going to wipe that score?
Yes.
We have to anyway. So, okay, so we'll take a fresh start. Those at home who are listening, it's all good. We've just, to give everything its fair go.
So that one will be restored.
We had a little bit of a limiting part of the tech. Anyway, it's all been sorted. We're all good. You might have heard a couple of interesting things. That was really cool, guys. Thank you. Keep up the good work. I was asked earlier today, do I still shoot, do anything professionally? And I think we do, but we find ourselves in little niches and different things that our experiences and our background can allow us to work in, which is a little different to the mainstream sometimes. So it's great. All right. Are we good to go? Okay, so the image that you saw before will come up a little later, and you'll have a chance to rescore that. But the images are the same collection, just in a different order. Cool? All right, let's go. First image, thank you. This one does have a statement. Yeah. Commercial use description. Self-commissioned work for the Yes campaign in Australia 2023. This image scores 83, silver award. We have a challenge from Faru on 88. You have a 77, 81, 84, 86.
Yeah, I really want to challenge this image because I wonder if you see the nugget in this image as well. So I don't know how many images, like 100 or something, but we all witnessed last year about the Yes campaign for First Nation, and we know all the story, and we see all these Yes behind the window, like a flag everywhere, and people try to support, and we are just discovering here all these like creative, colorful, welcoming flags of Yes. at the end, we only see one photo with the First Nation flag, which is, I think, this is like the most strongest image of this image, like the finishing dot.
Okay.
And I think it deserved high silver because it's something really important to be seen and considered, not only politics, but only presented as well.
Thank you, Faru. Bruce.
I was like high commended because I think it was really good and great professional practice in this sort of realm. I didn't see that nugget, so thank you for putting that out. That helps a lot, so I'll come up. But yeah, it's a sad story for me now. So, but yeah, it's an important story. So.
Okay, let's go to Harriet, who's in the middle.
Yeah, I think this is a great commercial image. Not only is the story important and powerful, I love the nugget that you've explained, Faru. Also, the way the photographer has laid out the images, like the classic yes with the yellow yes in the middle, are really dotted throughout the image. So my eye kind of like moves between those, but then I see all these other kind of beautiful artistic kind of works throughout that. And every little image, there's 100 there, and everyone is exposed beautifully, and they all work together. So I think I'm going to come up a bit. I had it as a higher silver, but I'm going to come up a bit as well.
Okay, back to you, Farouk.
Yeah, I think you said everything very well, perfectly. I'm not adding anything to it. It's commercial, and it's a strong image, and it's required to be considered.
Okay, you hold your score, please. Image score is 86 and is a good solid silver. Well done. And Bruce, just for the benefit of our listeners, would you explain what a nugget or a cookie is when judges are talking, just so they don't think that we're seeing...
It depends on which food outlet you go to, right?
When judges are looking, we often hear them say that you found the cookies or you found the nugget. And people might be thinking that most of our images have biscuits or
stuff
jewelry
and crumbs and stuff. No, it's a story element which can elevate what you're seeing. Sometimes work can be overwhelming or you just don't see it, and we as judges sometimes, maybe only one of us might see it, and that, when you get the chance to explain it, sometimes just brings the story to life. And yeah, so in this instance, Faru pointed out the
so it could be a small element, but the image, it ties the image together.
It ties the image together, and sometimes it can be really subtle.
Cool. Okay, just so people know. Next image, please. No comment or no statement with this. This image scores 81 by average, but with a majority of 70. It's a 79 by majority. What I mean by that for the listeners is that the average score was 81, but because 3 judges were below 80, it scores a 79 by majority. However, don't panic yet, because we have a judge that there is a judge in 90 in gold. So with a range of 75, 78, 78 and 83. Mark, it's over to you. Tell us what you saw.
Beautiful cross-purpose image. This could be used in such a variety of commercial applications and across many, many clients as well. You've got the people that produce the windows, you've got the people that produce the facade, you've got the actual builder, you've got project managers. This is going to serve a lot of purpose for a lot of years. The pop and colour rendition from it all is beautifully managed. There's detail in all of those saturated areas. controller symmetry with a sense of on and on and on and on and on. It would have been very tempting to crop to all of those lines, but I love that little inclusion of the black, and it just grounds it beautifully. I think this is an exceptionally strong, well-treated image that deserves to come up.
Okay, let's hear from Bruce in 75.
Okay, I'm on the opposite, but that's fine. Thank you. Thank you for challenging an interesting one to talk about. I think the thing that got me right is I love the symmetry and the colour and everything. The palette was great, but it felt really noisy, but like not in a way that makes sense. Like there are parts of it which, like within the colours, the texture feels like noise, not specific texture. And that was where I sat it in, like, commended good practice. But I really found that the post-production treatment was really at odds to what we're seeing. So, yeah.
Johan, you're in silver. You got a fairly solid silver there. What are you thinking?
I gave this an 83. I believe it sits in the silver, probably not the golds. The reason, I love it for all the reasons that my fellow judge has given it a gold for, but I was held back by the ever so slight out of whack perspective on the sides. It just leans in the very slightest amount, and that was such an easy fix. But otherwise, it's great. I love the grittiness of it caused by the texture. I think for me that adds a life to the imagery. Yeah.
Does anyone have anything to add? Otherwise, I'll go back to Mark. Okay, back to you, Mark.
So straight off the bat, really great visual impact. It packs a punch. This is going to pack a punch across all web views. You could even blow it up big, and that bit of noise is going to be hidden. I think this is one of those opportunistic images that you want on the commercial shoot, and they've handled it really beautifully. All the lines are beautifully and crisp, and I think they've walked a delicate balance between ISO and crispness. That's just worked in its favour. I really want to see it come up, guys.
Okay, so you hold your score at 90, judges. Just rescore based on what you've heard, please. Mark, you might have to re-enter your score, the same score, please.
It was an auto challenge, so everyone can...
No, I called it as elective. Yeah. Okay, yeah, yours is not gone through. That's okay. And the image scores 82, silver award. Well done. Next image, please. There is a statement with this. Yuki Yanagi, a photo from the Momijigari Maple Leaf Hunting Series. So I'll say that again as best I can. Yuki Yagani, a photo from the Momijigari Maple Leaf Hunting Series. Apologies to the photographer, I've got that wrong. This image scores 75 and is a highly commended image. Can I have a comment, please, from Harriet?
Yeah, lovely image, really interesting. There's obviously a distinction between the background and the foreground that seems quite intentional. The subject itself, there seems to be quite a little bit of bleeding around the edges of the subject. The hand is a little orange that's holding the umbrella, as are the feet. And so that sort of distinct separation starts to kind of blend in a little bit. So yeah, some technical things that can happen here to kind of elevate it, but it looks like a great sort of story and series, and yeah, keep working at it.
Thank you. Next image, please. Commercial use description. A coal miner for Glencore approaches a dump truck at Ravensworth mine site on rainy day. This was part of an advertising campaign for Glencore. Image score is 75. Everybody very, very close to that score. Quick comment, if I can, from Johan, please.
I feel this image would have been much stronger as a panoramic, and it's really unfortunate the horizon goes right through the man's helmet.
Yeah.
But otherwise, you know, it's good contrast of colours.
Yep, a few things to work with. Thank you, Johan. Next image, please. No statement. Image scores 79. And we have a challenge from Johan on 86. You have 73, 77, 78, 81 to work with.
Right. The aerial perspective of a house without its roof is, it's so clean, it's so visual, and I wish I'd done this with my home. It's a photograph that I wish I had taken of my own place, and it makes me feel informed about what's here. And as a commercial image, I think that makes it strong.
Yeah, let's go to Harriet on 73.
Yeah, there's some great lines in this, and some great perspective. I think the processing is a little overdone in that it just feels there's some clarity or sharpening that's been sort of a bit overused in it. It feels like noise, but it feels quite crunchy for want of a better word for me. Also, the two people are a bit lost in there. I think if they popped out a little bit more, this could be really elevated. I'm not sure about the use of black and white. Perhaps in colour it might have popped a bit more, but I'm listening and I'm wanting to, be encouraged to come up.
Bruce, you're on 81, so you saw it as a silver.
Yeah, I thought this was, as Johan said, like a nice, unique perspective you don't get to see. And the other thing I saw about this is that it's a really clean work site. Let's be honest. If you wanted the tidiest builders in the world, you got them. I rewarded it a silver just because I thought it was a nice and interesting way of putting a spin on something we've probably seen quite a lot.
Okay, back to you, Johan.
I'm very appreciative of the inclusion of the two people because it gives the whole thing a sense of scale. Because this could be microscopic or it not, but here you can tell. I think some of the quality issues that you're talking about are potentially the limitations of, say, drone photography. But I think they've been managed very well. So I gave it an 86. Come and join me if you can.
Okay, you hold your score. Everybody rescore, please. Image scores 79 by majority. So you did shift a few people, but not over the fence into the next yard. They stayed in this. They stayed in the little room, and you didn't quite get them into the big room. Next image, please. No statement. Image score 76. With a challenge from Mark. On 83, you have a 72, 73, 77, 76 to work with.
A single point perspective in a public thoroughfare is always really a commercial challenge. I think this has been handled really, really well. The limitations of very mixed light sources in such a large space as well, I think should be rewarded. Really, you know, there's been control, skill, the person still. I think this is, it's had time, consideration, thought put into every part of the process, even the handling of the whites and the, you know, the blending to still retain detail in the highlights, but still making them appear like bright highlights has been managed really well. So I just want to see it come up just a little bit.
All right, let's hear from Faru on 73.
Yeah, I think it's a really interesting location, and I think photographer try to get it very symmetry and handle it in a really nice. But I think the overall softness of the image is a bit questioning for me, and also it's like the subject in the middle is soft, is not really focused, and I'm not sure actually the subject should be there if we are talking about the building. It's not like the subject is not adding anything to the story of the building. Also, the two lamps, like in terms of using the wide lens, it looks bigger. It looks bigger from the right and the left, and it's like caught, and it's kind of dominant and distracting. And yeah, but I'm listening.
Okay. Anyone have something to add to the conversation? Harriet, or yeah, no? If you don't, that's fine. Okay. Okay, we'll come back to you, Mark.
Yeah, look, the inclusion of the lamps, I think the frame, pushing forwards any further, you would have lost that framing of the base of the on the ground. The walls would have become a little bit empty, and the whole frame would have sat right at the end of the corridor, and I think there'd be a lot of wasted negative space. I think it's actually a very clever inclusion compositionally to include those lamps on the left and the right hand side. The softness of the person is indicative of the slower shutter speed required to get that high depth of field and have that sense of motion running through as well. It's not a lack of focus or a misstep in camera operation. It's actually, if you look at the feet and the hands, there's actually is motion blur rather than a lack of focus issue throughout the frame. So I think this has been managed really well, very high standard of commercial work, and I'd like to just see it come up.
Okay, you hold your score, Mark. Everybody rescore accordingly, please. And the image goes to 77. Oh. And we learned something. Okay, we're going to have a judge change. If I could ask Faru, Harriet and Mark to take a little break. And I'd like to invite Katrina, Jonathan and David to join us. Thank you. Okay, next image, please. No statement with this image. Thanks, judges. Okay, we have a score of 83, silver award. Are we happy with that, judges? Happy with that? Yep. Okay. Can I have a comment, please, from Bruce on what could be done to lift this a little bit higher?
I think this is a great textural piece, and now I sit down, I've just blanked. Somebody else.
A great textural piece, very busy, but really well held together, and the busyness of this helps to bring out the figure in the gold.
Yeah, the figure in the gold. Sorry, I've literally just blanked as
That's
I
all
sat
right.
down.
Contextually, too, the colour of the yellow and the balder head sort of gives us some culture.
I mean, it's the cookie.
Yeah.
That little child even looks like maybe a monk, or
Yeah.
you know, but that's what really holds it together, and the fact that if the photographer controlling it is in yellow, and yellow works so well with the colours in the building,
Yeah.
as opposed to making it red or something. So I think that holds it. How you'd make it, how you'd take it up high, I don't know, because it's really well. I gave it 88. It's really well finished and cropped and perfectly, really good architectural image.
Yeah. I think sometimes images, we have to remember, it doesn't matter what the image is. There's not like a fix-it that takes it to 100, no matter what the image is.
No.
Every image has its potential. So what we're looking for is, has this image reached its potential? And that might be at its full potential now, or it might be just a couple of little things to take it a bit higher.
It's hard to see anything that's not right with it.
That's right.
Yeah, so it is what it is.
Yeah, cool. Next image, please. Thanks, guys. And Bruce, it happens, mate.
Yeah, once you started talking, I thought...
Don't worry, it happens more as you get older, don't worry.
Yeah.
No statement with this one, sorry. Thanks, Alicia. Thank you, judges. Image scores 81, silver award. Well done. Jonathan, maybe a quick... Oh, Kat, you wanted to say something. Sure. Yeah?
Biggest challenge in this image for me was just time of day, choice of time of day. The streak of light coming through there is competing for our attention on what is otherwise a beautiful scene and sculpture and all that sort of stuff. So love the composition, but yeah, maybe pick a better time of day, softer light, that sort of thing.
Okay. Next image, please. No statement. Okay, we have a score of 82, silver award. And we have an elective challenge from Johan on 87. You have someone else on 87, and you have an 82, 76, and a 77.
Okay, well, we can talk about scale. For some reason, the figure in the window looks like it's oversized, but then we're given the gift of the pigeon, which is in the same proportions as that child. And all of a sudden it starts making more sense. The complexity of the image, of the patterns and the forms, is quite stunning. You're drawn over to where the child is by the brightness of the reds. And then there's this wire that goes across the top, which starts to make it real. So I think the brave inclusion of all those, plus the absolute symmetry, is just wonderful. I gave it 87.
Thank you, Johan. Let's have a chat to Bruce on 76.
I saw the person and the pigeon, and I definitely thought that was well handled and well captured. I think the thing that came to me is like technically, like the top left-hand corner is quite dark compared to the rest of it, so, and the bottom right, left as well. But the symmetry is there, but I find it really hard on the eye because I know they're man-made structures and stuff like that, it's like handwork, but it feels wrong to the frame, and that's just because of the way it's made. And I can give it a little bit, but it just pulls me out, and I'm wondering what is this trying to do commercially? What are we trying to say?
Keeping in mind commercial can involve travel aspects and things like that.
Yeah. I understand that.
Okay, David?
The thing that struck me, all that bright colour, I think it's well framed and architecturally it's really good. But then I look closely at the little boy, and that is not a happy little boy. So in amongst all this flare of colour, so I felt this is like a travel, it's a social comment. And Johan had mentioned the little boy looks big. He's caged in like the bird, you know. It's a really small space. So he's entrapped in this ornate and beautiful architecture, but I don't think he's that happy.
Very quick comment before Johannes has his right of reply. I'm just struggling to resolve the lighting on the boy and that strip of wood in the front of him. It's so different to the rest. Like, I'm finding it quite jarring. It doesn't feel natural to me at all. Everything else is quite sort of muted and soft. So that was the main point that I was a bit stuck on. Johannes, if you can talk to me about that.
Johan?
There are some things that just can't be explained. But to use my fellow judge's word, I'm looking for the forgiveness to bring it up to a higher score. Already it's doing well, but it'd be nice to sort of nudge it up a little bit further. I applaud the photographer for the use of control over the colours to bring us to the point of attention. Yeah, I gave it 87, see what you can do.
Thanks, Johan. You hold your score. Everyone else can rescore according to what they've heard. Image scores 83. Silver award. Well done. Next image, please. No comment or no statement. Thanks, judges. Image scores 82, silver award. Challenge from Johan on 87, 83, 82, 82 and a 77.
What a clever photograph. It looks like part of a manufacturing process where you send the pods up to the top of the structure and they filter down through the rivulets of the, let's call them inverted parabolas, to become something else. And it's quite an interesting concept where the photographer's been very, very clever in juxtaposing the two structural elements to create such a strong image. And it's been done so tidily. I gave this award to this score to the photographer for inventiveness, creativeness, and good vision.
Okay, let's have a listen to Kat on 77.
In terms of tidiness, those couple of carriages poking out of the building on the right-hand side are, I'm not sure if they're necessary. They're not adding anything to me. I'm finding them distracting. Just a slight shift across, you could take them out of shot. It's quite hot. It's like our sky isn't overly interesting. And as commercial photographers, obviously that's a big consideration in what we're trying to capture to really highlight the structures and buildings and such that we're capturing. But I acknowledge I've been potentially hard, so I'm willing to come up. I do also think this image could benefit from cropping, particularly on the left-hand side. Maybe make it a square.
Okay, let's have one more comment maybe from Bruce.
Yeah, sure. I think I was a little harsh on this. I'm going to come up a little bit because I think the way it's been handled, I do agree with the pod on the right-hand side, but the way the metal and texture has been handled in that building is actually really well handled. That's a reflective surface. That would catch all sorts of stuff. So technically that is great. Seeing it the way it is great. Yeah, and I feel like it's almost an industrial, like it's a comb or something like that. I'm looking for the hair sticking out of it from my daughter or something. You know, that sort of thing.
Maybe
So
if you take the sword out.
Yeah, maybe. But no, well done. And yeah, I'm coming out.
Johan?
Good. Bring your friends with you. So I just addressing the cropping, I felt the left-hand side space was necessary because that's the feed into the machinery, and there needs to be space to do that. If the sky had had too much more detail, it would have been a photograph about sky and not the structure and the form and the machinery. So I feel that those things shouldn't hold you back. Yeah, so I gave it an 87, and please help me.
Okay, you hold your score. Judges rescore, please. Image scores 85, silver award, solid, well done. Next image, please. No comment with this one. Image scores 77. We all good with that? Yeah. Okay, we're all good with that. Can we have a quick comment, please, from Johan on what could be done to lift this image?
Wonderful form and structure, and you're drawn immediately into where you need to look, except the parts that are out of focus become a little bit frustrating in the foreground.
Okay, so attention to depth of field. Next image, please. Commercial use description. Kitchen still life after SUDEC, self-commissioned. Kitchen still life after SUDEC, self-commissioned. Image has not got a full score yet. Image now has a full score of 82. Silver award, yeah, absolutely. Have a challenge from David on 90. You have 77, 78, 81 and 85. There you go.
I do really like the graphic and the imagination, and I'm not sure what Sudek is, but I'm guessing it's some kind of surface finishing. And when you look closely at the texture, Oh, I thought that was part of the statement.
Yeah, he is a photographer.
Kitchen still life after Sudek, self-commissioned.
So I took Sudek as to be part of, I don't know.
I can't help you.
No.
He's a photographer.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, of course, Sudek.
I
was looking for a commercial name.
Yeah, I was thinking it was a laminate of some sort. So that takes my.
Yeah,
and I
so
said,
it's
the
a
laminate,
montage.
the texture in the laminate, it's like the texture
Homage.
in the homage. Okay, look, I still like it just for its the graphic, the placement. I think this, if for a commercial image or an image you're putting in a commercial folio showing this much imagination, is to be commended, because you don't often get that chance in the commercial world, and the more you can lead your clients to some creativity, the better. So I commend the photographer for that, on that basis.
Bruce, 77.
I like the graphic nature of this. I think the thing that I struggle with is the framing and that texture not being like there's a massive, well, it feels like a scratch or something in the bottom, and it's not pointing very well to anything. I feel the egg maybe could have been positioned a little bit better. I put this in high commended because I thought this was interesting, but could be quite a lot more refined and played with, and I really want the photographer to do that. So yeah.
Okay, Bruce, thank you. Let's go to Jonathan, who's on 85.
Yeah, look, I respond really well to this image. Clearly, it's not a found image where someone's just come across the scene and taken a photo of it. The placement of the egg is absolutely deliberate, and even though the first thing that crosses your mind when you look at the image is, gee, I wish the egg hadn't been placed in contrast with the dark shadow right behind it. You realise that that's a very deliberate choice that the photographer's made, and similarly with the crop on the bottom, which initially struck me as being needing to be removed. I thought that there's too much negative space at the bottom of the image. You can see a very faint shadow of the reflection on the wall in that, and so that's also perfectly placed. So I think it's a very deliberate and beautiful study that should definitely be rewarded.
Okay, back to you, David.
Thank you for that. I started to go 88, and I thought, don't be a wimp, because I really liked it. And where the egg's placed is where the egg is placed. That was the photographer's choice. Nothing in this is by happenstance, so it's been deliberate. The fact it just crosses one of the shadow lines creates tension. The reflection, we have the space that he's allowed around the sunlit area. I mean, all this, I think, works to...
Or she.
Or she.
Or
Oh,
they.
sorry, yes.
Or they.
Or they, yes. So I would like to encourage my fellow judges to just reward all of those things. Thank you.
David. David's on 90, and take into account what you've heard and re-judge, please.
So I'm locked in.
Yep, you're locked in. Image scores 87, solid silver, well done. So just a reminder that we don't know who the photographer is, who creates the work. So when we choose to refer to the photographer, we just need to be careful we're inclusive in terms of our pronouns, he, she or they. So that's why I was just adding that in. Okay, next image please. No comment here? Thank you, judges. Image scores 79 and is a very high commended award. Are we happy with that, everybody? Okay, David, you've given it 88, so let's hear from you. You've got a 73, 75, 78 and 81.
I mean, it's a very styled, art-directed image. It's beautifully done, but it's almost like a pantomime piece. Everything, every little detail, skin tone, positioning, hat, dress, and then the warm. So as a commercial shot that's promoting, I'm assuming, travel, ocean travel, that's an ocean liner or a yacht of some sort. It's a very workable shot, and it would have been highly art directed and it would have been to suit, but it's executed beautifully. So that's what had me give it a high silver.
Okay, let's hear from Johan on 73.
Right. Yes, I came from the angle that it was some form of piece for a performance, introducing characters who might be in the performance, and the performance is potentially based on an old-time boat. I felt that the skin smoothing was a bit too overdone. I felt that the content of the characterizations wasn't quite right. So the people didn't feel like they owned their parts. They felt like they're being posed into their parts. I do appreciate the use of black on each end. I thought that was very clever, but I didn't believe the people. And so I gave it a 73, but keep talking, you never know.
Okay, Katrina, you're an 81, so you just scraped into silver.
Yeah. Yep, and I do think it deserves to be a silver award. It is a strong visual commercial piece. I don't think that's debatable. I think definitely the skin smoothing thing, initially I was thinking the same thing, but for the content, and when I saw it work on the gentleman that's like the Ken doll here on his hair, I think it actually works very, very well. They're sort of these plasticky, characters. They're not supposed to be real. You do get the sense that this is sort of pantomime-y, hammed up theatre production, and I think in that way it works very well. And it's just been beautifully constructed. It's a nice professional piece, no doubt about it, and beautiful sky and boat work in the background. So, yep, I'm happy in silver, absolutely.
Okay, back to you, David.
I hadn't thought of it as a play, but either way, or a film, this is very Hollywood. It's made over to the nth degree, and I assume that's absolutely part of the style or the commercial direction and what was wanted. And it's been executed, thank you, executed really, really well, including the smoothing of the skin, because I don't think these are meant to be real people. They're almost Barbie dolls. And that's all part of what makes it just a strong visual communication.
Okay, you hold your score. Thanks, David. At 88, everyone take on board what they've heard. Image scores by majority 79. So, which means it averaged 80, but it's majority 79. So it's a highly commended work. I think what they're doing, the skipper and Gilligan are there, Ginger, the professor, Mary Ann, and Thurston Howe's looking for Mrs. Howe. Next image, please. Maybe not. Not going? We're locked out. Oh, no, it's coming out. It should be coming out. Refresh.
You want to hit refresh on the
I've hit refresh on here.
no, on this one. There's computer.
Yes, but...
Just Apple.
Just got to get this out of the way and not press the wrong things.
There we go.
Let's move shift the cursor, please.
Only because you asked nice. Yeah. No comment with this, no statement. We need to keep moving, judges. Thank you. Image score's 84, solid silver. Nice simple composition, and I love the narrative that's hidden in there with nature and the urbanisation of the world. You've got this sort of play between the two. Beautifully done. Nice tones in that image as well, and well edited. Next image, please. Commercial use description. A travel photograph, would have to be Icelandic, a travel photograph from the Kolingafell geothermal area in the central highlands of Iceland, formed approximately 10,000 years ago. Volcanic activity is still very apparent. Might be Kolingafell, I'm not sure. Thank you, judges. This image scores as 87 with a challenge with a challenge from Bruce. You have 83, 85 and 2 88s. Go for it.
All right, you guys saw the potential there, so you all seem to be in at least silver. I'm up in the gold because this is expertly found and created. I don't know if it was actually found or if they've posed somebody there, but regardless, it's like getting that silhouette perfectly in centre, not covered in mist, yet everything is there. You've got atmosphere, you've got texture, you've got dimensionality, you've got the stream down in the bottom right corner giving you even more like how small this figure is, but then you've got the building in the background, all the different mountain parts and things like that. Now commercially, this is exciting because this could be used for a book cover, this could be used for a movie thing, and could be cropped in many different ways to actually put it onto different objects like billboards, to book covers, to movie posters, to websites. And you can instantly read a narrative into this as well and throw your text in it, whatever you need to. This is really exquisite communication that can be easily tailored for a multitude of uses.
Thanks, Bruce. Kat.
Yeah, thanks, Bruce. It's really interesting listening to what you're saying, your perspective, and I agree. It's certainly very visually arresting. What's holding me back from gold? I think crop. I think there's almost just a bit too much going on around. That central figure is incredible, absolutely, no doubt about it. And the bridge in the mist is quite lovely also. I appreciate that we need, that complete of the mountain up the top. But I don't know, for me, there's not a lot going on that left-hand side. But I'm definitely listening. I'm on 83. Keep talking to me.
Okay, Johan.
Right, I gave it an 88. I'm happy to go up. What this photograph talks about is potential. Like there's paths to go on, places to go, different things to see, places that you've come from. So I think it's very much a journeyman photograph and very successful at that. I gave it 88. I'm coming up into the 90s.
Okay, if you have something to add, Jonathan?
Yeah, there's a massive amount of power and drama in this. It looks like, I would go so far as to call it transcendent. It looks like there's someone who's basically walking out of the pits of hell here. And, I did notice that there's a lack, an absence of shadow detail in the dark mass at the bottom of the image. I don't even think it matters. The only thing that I can imagine making it any stronger is just to darken some of the highlights on the extreme left of the frame, because they tend to draw your eye away from the centre, but it's really transcendent, and I'm going to go up.
Okay, back to you, Bruce.
Thanks, everybody. Yeah, the power is in there. Those little technical quirks could be easily remedied, but I don't think they make much of a difference. The crop, I think it needs to be this wide. As I said, it has potential to go into different ways, which is brilliant for advertising or whatever you want to do. But that figure is small, and it needs to be small in that frame to be able to give you the grandeur of what an epic journey this person is going on or is on. So come up with me to high silver to gold. Come to gold, like, do it, do it, do it, do it.
Okay, you hold your score, and everybody else rescore. Take on board what you've heard. Image scores 92, gold. Have a quick judge change. Thank you, Bruce. You can have a little break. Thank you, Johan. You can have a little break. And thank you, Katrina. You can have a little break. If I can invite Mark back to the panel, Harriet and Faru. Thank you. And we'll go to the next image, please, and we will keep moving people. We just need to get a little bit back on track. This one does have a statement. Advertising Queensland University of Technology. This is the only qualification of its kind in Australia, a launch pad for your esports career. I'll say that again. Advertising the Queensland University of Technology. This is the only qualification of its kind in Australia, a launch pad for your esports career. Image scores 79 by majority. We'll have to have a challenge, because even if David doesn't call it, I'll have to, because the spread's too big. Okay, so I'm going to call an auto challenge, because you didn't put your hand up. So we have a range from 73 to 93. David, I will let you go first, since you're up in the gold range, and just explain what you saw, and then we'll hear from a couple of other people, and then everybody will get the chance to rescore, but David, you won't get the chance to re-comment.
Okay. Beautifully executed, production values, the direction, the mix of colours, a little bit of gold in the back, gold around her mouse, gold light, all the colours really come together. I love the way they've just got the one person totally in focus, but you get the emotion of the people behind, so that's been very well managed and controlled. And it struck me as interesting that the person that's just won something or scored something, it isn't the big over-the-top, exuberant sporting thing. She's just smiling to herself. She's succeeded, and she's just connecting with another student. So in terms of this advertising a course, and a one-of-a-kind course, I think this fits the brief beautifully. And all the colours, it's warm and it's edgy with a little bits of blues and greens. So I thought it filled its brief beautifully, and that's why I gave it gold.
Thanks, David. We'll go to Farul on 73.
Thank you, David. I think like it's really energetic for sure. It's like the winning, the joy. You can see it in the that two girls there. However, I feel like the focus point instead of the main, like the front subject, is more in the on the table at back of the keyboard, which let me down. And also the oversaturated color happen, especially on the face of the girls, it turns to more to orange and yellow. I know that's kind of lighting, it caused that, but it easily could fix it on post-production. And also I feel like the background is a bit busy, or perhaps that's another distracting thing to the image, but I'm listening because it's really joyful moment capture.
Mark, can you please add a comment? Thank you.
Yeah. As far as a campaign image, this is what the client expects. This is the brief. I think it's been really well executed in a commercial sense, but there's just, I can't really see gold in it for the reasons that Faru has pointed out, and it's a really unfortunate plane of depth of field, which has rendered that messy tablecloth kind of a little bit just too distracting for me.
Okay, back to you, David.
I mean, yes, you could say that, but when you look...
Sorry, my apologies. It was an auto score, so I'm going to leave it like that, unless anyone else has a comment to add. We're all good? Okay, so we've all heard the comments that was made. You can all rescore based on that. Sorry, David. And the image scores a majority 79, as it did before. So well done. Next image, please. There is no comment with this picture. Thank you, judges. This image scores 81 and has a silver award. Yes, well done. Yeah, all judges sort of sitting between 77 and 85. Quick comment, if I can, from you, Mark.
Yeah, really well executed movie poster, or production poster. A great use of the negative space and everything sitting in well. The eye lines of a couple of the characters really need to kind of command that eye line to the viewer to really engage.
Can you explain the space on the bottom left, please?
Yeah, so this is really beautifully purposely done to hold the weight of text. So whatever it's promoting, whether it be a stage production, movie poster or the like, I think is weighted really beautifully.
Yeah. So just confirming that in this category, text has to be removed. So we look at it and we take into account from a commercial aspect that this does allow space for that. Thanks, Mark. Next image, please. So that was an 81 silver. Well done. Next image. No comment with this one. Image scores 79. Are we happy with this?
No.
Sorry?
No.
Would you like, if you want a challenge, you've got, I want to hear challenges. Okay, so I have a challenge from David on 88, and everybody else is between 76 and 78.
There were a few technical things that for me a little bit disappointing. The fact the blacks aren't black at the top of the line. But graphically, I rewarded it for its imagination and its unusualness and its graphic potential. You know, I would like to have seen all the black lines solid black, but whatever's been used is catching light and perhaps flaring. But just for imagination and a shot you don't see every day, I thought that was why I gave it a very solid silver.
Okay, Harriet?
Yeah, I was really excited when this popped up. It's so graphic, and that pop of yellow is really lovely. The black lines are a big thing for me on this one. I think with something so graphic, it's really got to pack that punch. This bottom one, seem to be some chips in it as well, which is quite an easy little clone or whatever. Yeah, if there was a gradient of the black sort of going kind of brighter to that middle point, that end point, maybe, but it just seems a bit washy, which is, yeah. But I love the ingenuity and the ideas, and yeah, I'm listening.
Okay, anyone have something to add to the conversation? Okay, Mark?
Yeah, I think in regards to those blacks, I think it needs that for a little bit of grounding realism. But when we're talking about grounding, the narrative, there's an incongruence between the black and not having any ground to relate it to. So as a graphic piece, it's really strong, but I'm really struggling commercially.
Okay, David, back to you.
I didn't miss any fact of it being grounded because I think that's its strength. Commercially, that's its strength. It's just something that on a billboard, with it's got plenty of space for text with the message, would grab your attention and would have impact. So that's why I think it's definitely worth rewarding as a silver.
Okay, that you hold your score there, David, and everybody else can rescore, please, as you see fit. Image scores 79 by majority. Highly commended. Well done. Next image, please. And again, no commentary with this. Majority. Image scores 84, silver award. We're all happy with that, I'm sure. Mark, quick comment. Strengths, weakness.
Yeah, really superb composition and balance in frame. The grain in this, though, is a little distracting with all of those clean lines of the corrugations, and then just a little kind of evening of some of those tones through the aluminium flashing as well would have just helped to really put the emphasis back onto the really strong composition.
Thanks, Mark. Next image, please. No commentary with this. Image scores 82, silver award. Well done. Faru challenging on 88. Thanks, Faru. Tell us what you saw.
Thank you. Oh. Thank you. I'm quite excited about this image because this image has really a strong visual impact. The geometry, the design of this image is really impactful. There is a chaos there. There's a large instruction happened, and the photographer managed to get it in a very interesting way of composition as well. We have the two part of the right, which is more car and trucks, and the left side, which is more lots of texture and like a shape and form happening, and at the bottom. So I think it's just like capturing everything, like all little details and texture and shape and form in one shot. It's really powerful, it's really interesting, and it's rewarding in like a high silver. I'd love to hear from you guys.
David, 75.
This is sort of in my neck of the woods in the past. I've shot lots of stuff like this. I think what's held me back quite strongly is that there's too much going on. I would wanted the photographer to have made more distinct choices, perhaps by cropping in. So you've got the lovely story of the trucks coming round, just one after the other. So it's a big concrete pour. The crane disturbs me, the way it takes your eye straight out of frame. Cropping in or shooting in, assume this is a drone shot, so getting down lower, getting tighter. I think the story could have been better told. Now, if you're just documenting a stage in production of a building, it works fine. But if, at this level of wanting it to be silver, wanting it to be a really strong photograph in its own right, then some choices had to be made by the photographer, and I think that would have been coming in closer or cropping afterwards.
Mark, you're in the middle there.
Yeah, I've shot loads of this over the last 2 years, and this is a story really well told, and I think it is absolutely worth a silver, because to have all of those stars aligned to tell that story so beautifully with the timing, the choice of timing to be almost exactly halfway through that concrete pour, very deliberate, having that in conjunction with enough concrete trucks, because they never bloody turn up when you want them. And so there's a lot of things that have come together really beautifully for the photographer. I would have absolutely come up a little bit more with just that fraction of space at the top of frame. That's what I'm dying to have here, but I still think a very solid silver is where it needs to sit.
Anyone have anything to add? Jonathan?
Yeah, look, I've never been on a building site, and I've certainly never viewed one from the perspective that the photographer is showing us. So, I think this is a great piece of visual communication. I feel like I'm looking into like a little diorama, and it gives me a really good understanding of the kinds of activities that would happen at a place like this. And I scored it as silver, and I think it belongs there.
Okay, back to you, Faru.
So we are talking about high silver as well, not gold. If I was so close to get it gold, if I just didn't see those minors error at the image. But David, I so agree with you. If this image was in a different category, we are talking about commercial and could be commissioned to the photographer to capture the whole chaos of large in structure. So I think we are not talking about the choice of photographer here as well. This is a kind of abstract image as well. It has like outstanding visual impact, and I really, really want to encourage you guys, if someone can get it chaos in a very great way to make it interesting discussion, it should be sitting in a higher silver.
Thank you, Faru. You hold your score. Everybody read score, please. Image scores 85, solid silver. Next image, please. Yeah, it's just mine's not refreshing. Yeah, there's a just. Yeah, Kat, could you come in, please? Okay. The client is a futurist thought leader who speaks to the vital importance of retaining human culture in the development of emerging technologies. Everyone get that? This client is a futurist thought leader who speaks to the vital importance of retaining human culture in the development of emerging technologies. Image scores 77, highly commended. Kat, quick comment from you, please.
Yeah, I'm unsure about the treatment in terms of to elevate this image. I don't think it's matching the emerging technology context there. I didn't catch any of that sort of reference. So interesting technique, well done, but yeah, just make sure there's not a dissonance between the two.
Okay, next image, please. Stay there, Kat. It's fine. There is no commentary with this. Image scores 80, silver award. Everybody pretty close? David, a quick comment as to why that got a silver award, please.
It's just well commercially executed. The lighting, there's nothing exceptional, but what has been done has been really well done, and the food stands out dramatically. The only slight thing I noticed, a bit of distraction, is the model's been allowed to keep a ring on.
Okay.
But that's probably the art director's fault, not the photographer's.
Okay, thank you, David. We're going to take a lunch break for about 40 minutes. So we're going to come back and finish this category. So please be back here at no later than 20 to 2. We can do that. Synchronise your watches.